Hi guys. I want to read a story about being selfish. And this is a story that we can probably all identify with. There are days where we find ourselves frustrated when someone else is selfish, and we also sometimes know that other people don't like it if we're selfish. So I want to talk about that because that can be a really important thing whether you're at school or if you're at home. So, with that, we're going to read a story by Joy Berry called Being Selfish. Okay, this book is about Katie and her friend Sam. Reading about Katie and Sam can help you understand and deal with being selfish. Do you see the picture right there? Already you can see a picture of Katie, and she seems to be holding all the toys to herself. And Sam looks really confused or even a little uncomfortable about being around someone who's holding all the toys to herself. Do you think Sam wants to be around Katie if she's doing that? You can take some time, even if you want to, pause the video and think about that. Do we want to be around someone who's maybe holding all the toys to themselves? Have you ever been with people who would not share their food with you? That can feel uncomfortable too, because sometimes maybe someone has a piece of candy that you might enjoy, and you might ask them, hey, can I have a piece? And they might say no. And think about what that feels like when someone tells you no. It doesn't feel very good always when someone tells us no right away. And we might not know how to respond. It'd be a good idea to pause the video now and think, how would you respond if you asked someone in a calm, nice way to share something and they told you no? Okay. Have you ever played with people who would not share their toys with you? Just like the last page, sometimes when someone doesn't share, it can feel really uncomfortable. You can see this picture. It looks like Katie is yelling at him, no! And it looks like Sam is really uncomfortable. He doesn't look like he likes being around Katie. How do you feel when you're around someone who doesn't share? I'm guessing you probably don't feel very happy or comfortable around them. I'm guessing Sam doesn't feel comfortable around Katie. So that also can tell us what kind of people we should spend time with and what kind of people we should maybe not always spend time with, or we can play certain things with them, but maybe we don't play maybe our toys with them because maybe they have a hard time sharing. People who do not share are selfish. They care more about themselves than others. That's a true statement, and it can be hard to hear. And sometimes you've maybe been in that spot where you've been selfish, where you have something that someone else wants and you don't share. That can hurt other people's feelings too. When you are with someone who is selfish, how do you feel? What do you think? What do you do? I'm going to ask those questions again, and I want to encourage you to think about them. Pause the video and ask, when you're with someone who's selfish, how do you feel? That's the first question. What do you think? That's the second question. And what do you do? That's the third question. I'll post these questions on the bottom of the video as well. When you're with someone who is selfish, you might feel left out, frustrated, and angry. You might not want to be with that person. And that can happen. So it's important. Let's say you do feel really left out, frustrated, and angry. What should you do if you start to feel that way? My recommendation, obviously, is that we should find some space from that person so we don't do something that's mean or say something that's mean. So we should always take a break. Taking a break helps us to be able to not be in the situation, taking us out of the situation with the person that we're mad at, and then having space for our body to calm down. It's a good idea when we're sitting and take a break to take some deep breaths. Maybe try to think of some self-talk you could say, like, I'm mad, but I know that I need to stay safe. Okay, something like that can help your brain remind you not to do anything mean or say anything mean. Okay? It's important to treat others the way you want to be treated. Or I'll even add something to that. It's important to treat others the way they want to be treated. If you want others to share with you, you need to share with them. You need to be unselfish. That's a really important statement. That if you're wanting someone to be kind to you, you definitely need to be kind to them. Being unselfish doesn't mean that you have to share all your things all the time. Sometimes you're not able to share. And this is true, but we also don't want to be so consumed with our stuff. We don't want to want our stuff so badly that we are not willing to share it. So it's super important that even if it's something that you really like, that you maybe try to make yourself willing to share. And that can be something like self-talk, like saying, can I trust this person with the stuff that I like? I should try to tell yourself how to calm down even when they're playing with something that's really important to you. It says in here, Sam says here, gosh, what should I do? I only have one sucker. How can I share that with Tammy? Maybe I used, so she writes, maybe I used too much yellow. But, so that's her working on a painting or something. But he's thinking out loud to himself, what should I do? I only have one sucker. How can I share that? Sometimes you can't always, but it's good to at least be thinking about other people more than ourselves. And think about that. If you only had one sucker left and you gave it to a friend, how do you think they would feel if you gave them your last sucker? They might really appreciate that. That's a good way to build a friendship. Okay, put the food away if you don't have enough to share. Try not to eat it in front of someone who does not have anything to eat. And I would add the last one, maybe just give them something, give them your last sucker, even if it's the only one you have. But these are some good ways to handle it. Put it away and don't eat it in front of them because they might make them feel embarrassed because they want a sucker as well. We'll keep going here. Try to be fair if you're going to share. Here's a good rule for dividing someone. Let one person divide and let the other person choose. So a good way to say that is, here's a piece of cake. Let's say there's one. One person cuts the cake and the other person gets to choose which one they get to eat. Okay, so that's an important way to be able to share and not be selfish. You might want to share something that is special to you. Do not use the special thing you might not want to. Mr. Biel read that wrong. You might not want to share something that's special to you. Do not use that special thing in front of someone unless the person does not want to use it, or unless the person has something else to use. Because if it's very special to you and the other person sees it, they might still want to use it. Okay? So we want to make sure that when we share, we're sharing things that you will let other people use. You do not have to share with anyone who is careless. Put your things away if you think they might be lost or damaged. It's true. Sometimes if you have a younger brother or sister and maybe they're not very safe with the toys they play with, if you have a special toy that you don't want to get broken, it's probably a good idea to put it away and not play with it, because if they want to play with it, they might end up getting their hands on it and they might do something with it that you don't want and it might break. So it's important to put things away that maybe are very special. You can help other people take care of things you share with them by doing these things. Show them how things work. Show them how to take care of your things. That's a really good idea too, and that can help to build a friendship too. If you say, hey, I'm willing to share this with you, but can you play with it this way? And it's important to use an assertive voice. If you use a passive voice, then people will probably not feel very comfortable being around you. If you're like passive where you're kind of crying and saying, oh, I don't really want you to play with it, but I'll let you, and you're kind of having a whiny voice, that's not a good way to handle it. Or if you're really aggressive and say, this is my toy and I want you to play with it nicely and don't you break it, that's not going to make someone feel welcome either. So a good way to say is, hey, I have a toy, I'm willing to share it with you. Can I show you how to play it? And that will help them stay calm. Did you notice how the tone of my voice was calm? I said it in a lighthearted way, and I didn't say it so that people felt nervous around me. And I also looked into the camera to show you my eyes so that you could see that I was looking at you. That's a good way to do it. Make sure you have your eyes looking at the person and talking with a calm, quieter voice. Okay? It shows a quote here, Sam saying, "You may play with my tape recorder, but I want to show you how it works, and you have to promise you won't take it outside." So he's also having something called boundaries. That means he's saying you can play with my toy, but you can only play with it in this place. That's a good way to have boundaries with people, okay? But it's also very nice of him to share. He is not being selfish. Be fair. If there's only one of something that must be shared by 2 or more people, take turns using it. Let each person use it for equal length of time, and you can use the clock or timer to help you keep track of it. That's a great way to do it. If you watch in one of the other videos, me and Mr. Matt do a sharing video, and we set a timer in the video to remind ourselves how much time each person has it. Also, if you have a timer, it's important. Sometimes you might still be wanting the toy while your friend or sister or brother are using it, and it might make you feel so overwhelmed because you want to use the toy. While the toy is being played with someone else and the timer is set, you should probably take some deep breaths. Maybe play with something different, or go sit and take a break while you wait for the timer so that your body can stay calm and you don't do something or say something that's mean. Okay, so make sure we keep our bodies calm and maybe playing something different while we wait. And while you do that, a good way to stay calm is using deep breaths and self-talk, saying, I don't really want the toy to be shared, but it's good for me to share. Something like that to help your brain remember sharing is okay. All right. If you want to be happy, you should treat other people the way they want to be treated. This means you should not be selfish because you do not want others around you to be selfish. That's a really important thing. If you're not wanting others to be selfish, you shouldn't be either. So I hope this is a helpful book about helping you understand about being selfish. Selfishness is something that we all struggle with. It's in every one of us, and it's a hard battle to not be selfish. But a good way to handle that is always being willing to share your things, and then making sure that you keep your body calm when you share, so that you can not focus on what you're sharing, but that you are sharing, and that you can remind yourself that it's a good thing to not be selfish and it's a good thing to share. And then that will allow people to trust you. Because if you're someone who gets mad or doesn't share, not a lot of people are going to want to be around you. And it's really important as you get older that you think about that. How many friends do you want? Because if you don't want a lot of friends, then being selfish is a good way to be. But if you want more friends and want people to trust you and like you, you should not be selfish, and you should be caring and giving to others. I would say that that's ultimately the best way. Even if you're not wanting lots of friends, it's always good to share and to not be selfish. All right. I hope you guys understood this and you're having a great day. I will look forward to seeing you when we do. Bye.